Hello and welcome back to the GBP USD lab. Good morning. Just quickly, obviously I'm on LTC USD. Well, it's a Saturday, so I just thought I'd put it up there so you've got something to look at while I'm doing this small lecture. In this video, I want to talk about something that almost every trader experiences, but very few talk about honestly: blowing accounts. Not in a dramatic, all-in revenge trading way, although that does happen, but slowly, quietly over time. Small mistakes, repeated decisions, tiny lapses in discipline that don't feel like a big deal in the moment. And before I go any further, I want to be clear about something. This video is not about strategy, it's not about entries, it's not about indicators or setups. Because most traders don't fail due to a lack of strategy, they fail because of how they behave once money is on the line. When I first started trading, I believed what a lot of people believe, that if I could just find the right system, if I could just refine my entries, if I could just get better timing, everything else would fall into place. And that sounds logical, it sounds sensible, but it's also wrong. Because even with a solid strategy, you can still destroy an account through behavior alone, and most traders do. One of the biggest problems is this idea that trading should feel productive all the time. That if you're not trading, you're falling behind. That if you're not clicking buttons, you're wasting time. That sitting on your hands somehow makes you less of a trader. But in reality, the opposite is usually true. The accounts that blow aren't blown because of one bad trade, they're blown because of strings of bad decisions that come from impatience. Here's what that usually looks like. You take a loss, a normal loss, one that was well within your plan, but it doesn't feel good. So instead of stepping back, you take another trade, not because the setup is perfect, but because you want to get back to even. That second trade might still be reasonable, but it's already coming from the wrong place. Then maybe there's a third, slightly worse, a bit rushed, a bit forced. And before you realise what's happening, you're no longer trading your plan, you're trading your emotions. That's how accounts bleed out. Another huge issue is position sizing. Not because people don't understand it. Most traders know intellectually that risk management matters, but knowing something and respecting it are very different things. When confidence is high, risk creeps up. When frustration sets in, risk creeps up. When you feel like you're close to a breakthrough, risk creeps up. And every time that happens, you're narrowing the margin for error. This is one of the reasons I trade GBP USD only. Not because it's magical, not because it's the best pair, but because familiarity reduces emotional noise. When you know how a market usually behaves, when you understand its rhythm, when you recognize when something is normal and when it's not, you're less likely to force trades. And less forcing means fewer emotional decisions, and fewer emotional decisions means fewer blown accounts. Something else that destroys traders quietly is expectations, unrealistic ones. The idea that every week should be profitable, that every session should offer opportunity, that drawdowns means something is wrong, but they don't. Losses are part of the job. Flat weeks are part of the job. Boring weeks are part of the job. The danger starts when you treat those things as problems that need fixing. One of the most important shifts I've made is this. I've stopped asking how much can I make today and started asking how well can I execute. These are completely different questions. One leads to pressure, the other leads to consistency, and consistency, well, is what keeps accounts alive long enough to actually grow. This is also why I talk so much about trading small. Small risks gives you room to think, room to pause, room to make mistakes without consequences spiraling. Big risk removes that room. Everything feels urgent, every tick matters, every loss feels personal, and that's when discipline breaks down. Most blown accounts don't happen during chaos. They actually happen during almost good conditions. Markets that look tradable but aren't quite right. Setups that are close but not perfect. Days where patience would have saved you, but impatience took over. That's why process matters more than outcomes, because outcomes fluctuate. Process protects you. I am not funded yet, and I'm not pretending to be, but I'm far more interested in building something sustainable than rushing to prove something. This channel exists to document that process, the thinking, the waiting, the mistakes, and the corrections, because that's what real trading actually looks like. If you've ever blown an account or come close, or maybe felt that slow bleed from overtrading, you're not broken, you're not stupid, and you're definitely not alone. You just need fewer decisions. Take more deliberately with less pressure attached to them. That's it. In the next video, I want to talk about how I review losing weeks without spiraling, without self-sabotage, and without changing my entire approach. If this video resonates, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.